As long as it's quick.
Can't stand people like this. Either one of them, God bless you. So I'd like to give a very brief testimony there, stemming back to years ago, but it actually came into its relevance very recently. I have a very good friend who's a funeral director, and he's an atheist. And he and I have a lot of respect for each other. We get on well. We've been out socially together, and we've been having very good conversations recently about Donald Trump, as you can imagine. Anyway, we got into a God conversation at his instigation, not mine, and I gave him this example because I'm a firm believer in this principle. The person with an experience is never at the mercy of a person with an argument.
True.
Now think about that.
Yeah.
A person with an experience is never at the mercy of a person with an argument. So here's the experience that I shared, and some of you will know the lady I'm going to mention. For the first 24 years of its existence, our church met in a little building on Castle Road. And I grew up there, and when I was about that high, there was a lady in the church called Rose Copeland. And Rose was deaf. I mean, you had to put a Victorian trumpet next to her ear to, Anyway, after one evening meeting on a Sunday, my father, who was then involved in leading the church, gave an invitation for people to come and be prayed for. And Rose went forward, and very interesting when God gives out gifts of healings. My dad always had a thing for deaf people. He prayed for loads of people who were deaf, and they all got healed. Anyway, laid hands on Rose, and then he whispered in her ear, "Hello, Rose," just like that. And this dear lady, I can still see her now. I could hear. I mean, she was absolutely ecstatic. Changed her life.
Yeah.
You know. I mean, I don't hear as well as I used to. I've been to the doctor because at low levels, I'm not hearing stuff, so I'm probably going to have something done. And not being able to hear, it's a terrible thing.
Yeah.
And you know what? People aren't always very understanding when you don't hear stuff either. You know. Are some of you? Not looking at anybody in the table. So I shared this story with my atheist friend. I said, all right, let me give you a story. You don't believe God exists, you don't believe supernatural things happen today. I'll tell you a personal story. This is not third hand or second hand. This is me telling you what I saw with my own eyes when I was a boy of about 12, 13 years of age. So I told him the story of Rose. And he I said to him, now you've got two options. You've either got to call me a liar, and I knew he couldn't do that because we're friends and he trusts me and I trust him, or you've got to stick that in your atheist pipe and give it a good smoke. You can use that line if you really want to. Because what are you going to do with it? There's no God, there's no supernatural activity, yet Bob Hyde, age 12, distinct memory of seeing this dear lady, Rose Copeland, being prayed for and instantaneously getting her hearing back.
Wonderful.
There you go, David.
Yeah.
Now, is it a coincidence? Is it a? So I'd like you to pray for my friend. I won't say his name publicly. It's on the thing and everything else. But just pray for Bob's atheist friend, would you? Because I believe the Lord's at work in his life, and he's got that in his atheist pipe, and he's given it a smoke.
Wonderful. Now, I just want to check we've got everybody present. You said that we're going to give a testimony. So Carol's here, I know. Daphne's here. Mary's here. Mary? yet? No. Oh, okay. Rachel? Yep, good. And Tony? No, Tony's doing the children's thing. That's fine. So that's the order we're going in. I thought, Lord, what order shall we do this in? And I had a great revelation. Alphabetical order. So Carol, you're on first, and each of you has a maximum of 5 minutes, preferably 3 or 4. Okay? Thank you. I'm going to sit here, but you can have the mic. How's that?
Okay.
Then I can tap you on the shoulder if you take too long.
Okay, fair enough. Well, my testimony is about answered prayer and
Do you want to use that?
Yeah, thank you.
I'll move that the way.
Thank you. About immediate answered prayer and detailed, which I've never really had it in that detail before. Anyway, to give you the background, a dear friend of mine who I've been friends with for 40 plus years was very poorly, and she was in Torquay Hospital. Now she's been a really fit person, very much involved in the local community, bursting with energy. And when I spoke to her on the phone, she told me she was in hospital. She said I know she'd been going through various health issues, but she was saying that really feeling really tired. We're having numerous tests, and I said, well, I'll happily come and visit you. And she said, well, I'm feeling so rough at the moment, and because I'm sleeping all the time, you know, maybe next week I'll be home, sort of thing. So I took it from that I shouldn't go, but I would still keep in touch with her, obviously, and I'd certainly be praying for her. Well, she'd been very much in my thoughts and prayers, and one morning, which happened to be March the 5th, I just sat on the edge of my bed with my cuppa, and I sort of thought, do you know what, shall I just go up, Lord? Shall I just turn up? I just had that conviction, if you like, that I should go and pray for her, and I didn't know how she would receive, whether she'd be open for me to actually pray with her. But anyway, so I said, what shall I do, Lord? What shall I do? And I looked on my bedside table with a pile of books. Those who know me better will know I can't stop buying books. But I have this little book which is called In Green Pastures, which is a daily devotional, which I bought in Oxfam Bookshop months ago, and I hadn't even opened it, to be honest, when I just picked it up and I thought, I'll open it for the day, which was March the 5th. Anyway, it said this, and it was writ large what I should do. It was titled Today, Not Tomorrow. There are duties that must be done at a particular moment, or they cannot be done at all. It is today the sick neighbour needs your visit. Tomorrow she may be well, or others will have ministered to her, or she may be dead. Thankfully, that's not the case. It is today that your friend needs your sympathy, your comfort. It will not be of any use to her tomorrow. It is today that this tempted one needs your help in her struggle. Tomorrow she may be defeated. It is today you must tell the story of the love of Christ. Tomorrow it may be too late. Learn well the meaning of now in all life. Tomorrow is a fatal word. Thousands of lives and countless thousands of hopes have been wrecked on it. Today is the word of divine blessing. So of course, what did I do? I went to the hospital. I just turned up, and as I walked in through the door, I knew that her sister was there. Shirley's sister was there. And I said, I hope you don't mind me just coming unannounced, because I know you didn't really want visitors. And she said, no, I'm so pleased to see you, Carol, because I've had the results of tests and I haven't been able to share it with anybody other than my sister. And we had a very emotional afternoon, and she's had the most devastating diagnosis, life-changing diagnosis, I would say. But it was a time of sharing, and I was able to speak about faith. And by the end of the time, at the end of the afternoon when I visited, I said, Shirley, I'd really like to pray with you now, if that's acceptable to you. And she said, oh, I'd love that. And she held my hand and she said, you find the words. You find the words to pray, Carol. And so I can't even tell you what I prayed. It was, I didn't know what to pray, but it just flowed out of me, to be honest. And I can only say that Shirley shook the whole of the time, and she's not a shaker. But what can I say? The instructions couldn't have been any clearer, and I had that time to share my faith and to pray for her. And when I've been this past week again, we had a lot of talk about faith actually, and she's asked to see the chaplain. So I'm really encouraged by that, but that's my testimony.
Good.
Isn't that great? You do a more clear prophetic word. Really. Daphne, it's your turn now.
Thank you.
From the age of 14, I took up smoking. My mum smoked, my brothers and sisters smoked, my dad smoked. They all smoked like a chimney. In fact, I think I was born into smoke. So it wasn't no surprise to my family that I joined the gang. I carried on smoking, and I was climbing from 20 to 60 a day. Not all cigarettes were smoked. I had to put them down to do other things, and when I went back, they'd burnt out. But I was 60 a day for about 20 years, till I changed my job. I didn't have to put down so many cigarettes. So I cut down to 20 and then cut down to 10. But it was a battle, and I kept praying about it because I couldn't really afford to smoke. The circumstances had changed drastically. When my daughter needed things, I had to give up smoking because my daughter was more important than the cigarettes. But when I got over that struggle, I automatically went back to smoking again. It's a hard lesson, really, because I didn't have enough discipline in myself. But I carried on praying about it. I gave up smoking for the first time for about a year, and then something happened in the family, and I went back to smoking. And this happened about 3 times. But one morning, out of the blue, and I hadn't even prayed about it for ages, but I heard a clear, sharp voice, and I had no doubt who was talking to me. And I always kept my packet of cigarettes and my lighter by my bed. Not that I ever smoked in the house, but that's where they were kept. But this voice said to me, "You don't smoke. You don't smoke." And I knew who was talking to me. And I just had to heed that voice. And I haven't smoked since. And I swear that it was God that woke me up and told me that I was cleansed from smoking. And then 3 months later, I lost my brother in a tragic car accident. He went through the windscreen because a person behind him was driving a vehicle on the phone. And he took off through the windscreen and was killed instantly. And I thought, oh Lord, you know, you've got to help me here because he wasn't just a brother, he was my soulmate, he was the little boy that I grew up with. We used to climb trees and do so much. He was a dear friend, and I still miss him today. But I never went back to smoking.
Wonderful.
And so, really, what I'm saying is, sometimes when you pray, you don't always get your prayers answered because it wasn't the right time. And no, I was pleading. I'm sure the Lord thought I wasn't ready for it. I didn't have the discipline, I didn't have the faith, I didn't have the trust in the Lord to lift me from it. But as you get older, you get wiser, and you get mature in your faith, and you get stronger. And the love for Christ just never stopped growing, and He has delivered me and people from my family with so much blessings, prayers that have been answered, and we weren't aware of it, but things were in motion, and there are so many things, and one day I will give another testimony.
Yeah, another day. Good.
Another day.
That's great. Time's up.
Good. Is Dave next? After that, it will be Rachel, and then Tony.
Oh, you're back. Good. That's great. David, you've got 1 minute.
Really quick, I did wonder why the actually came before me, because P comes before V. Well, never mind. Obeying promptings of the Lord. Talked about this morning, when you feel God wants you to do something, say something, go with it. It's amazing what happens. I was fixing a sink in the kitchen a few weeks back. I put the washer on and this drip was driving Karen bonkers. Driving me bonkers as well, at the same time. So eventually I got these mould grips from my oven, and once you got the thing off, it got stuck. Eventually Ida came and helped me. And we got this ceramic thing out of the tap. I thought it'd be a washer, but not a washer. Well, it wasn't a washer. 10p washer. It was a big ceramic thing came out. And of course, I had to go and buy another one from the shop. So I went into Brixton to the shop to get a new ceramic washer, and I was standing there waiting to be served by the man behind the counter, and he was talking with someone. And, you know, their conversation was all about being ready for death. All about death. I can't remember what it was. It was about death. Well, they were joking, sort of phrases you say about death. Eventually he went, and I went up to the counter. And why is that? I don't know. I just looked at him, and I said, "Are you ready?" And he said, "No." I wasn't expecting that answer, but I just felt the right thing. "Are you ready?" He said, "No." I said, "Well, it's," our mum was saying, "It's all about the Lord Jesus Christ." So I just said a bit. And I told him what I wanted, packet of ceramic into the tap. And he gives it to me. He said, that's £16.99. He said, this is £16.99 for your sins. I've got him really for death, he wanted me about pain. So that was why we read it for the impromptu, 6 meetings read it. I leave to you this morning. Just one other one about provision. God provides.
Yes, well, let me just say, no, you're all right. Let me just interject.
One of the blessings about the tap was that Dave learned how to do it. I've had a dripping tap for 5 years, ever since I moved in. And he's come and fixed mine.
Same sort of thing here. So,
I got mine for £15.
different shop. God provides. Every year I'll have a log burner. We get the logs for the thing and buy them. But every year, over the years, amazingly, somebody's always provided you with kindling. If you need to get a fire going, you need paper and a bit of kindling to get the thing going. And bags of kindling can be quite expensive, can't they? So I was always provided kindling. Everything's private. Sorry, I'm not. And then this year I've got no kindling in the office. And suddenly out of the blue, a friend comes along and said, oh, we've been doing work on the house and here's all this wood. So I get all this wood given to me. Then I've got another friend, who shall be nameless, who's been knocking down his shed, chopping his shed up, and he said, do you want to help the shed wood? So I've been heaving all this shed wood from Bankton. And it's burnt lovely, so we had all this kindling wood to burn the fire. And chopped up a few things in the garden on the table. It's been wonderful.
Great. That's your age.
I'm not actually sure what I'm going to say, so just bear with me, because even though I knew I was doing a testimony, I didn't know what I was testifying on at the time. I just knew that when Dave said about putting your name forward, came and put my name forward, and then I thought, well, I don't actually know what I'm going to say. But I've had a lot of issues with my car. Anybody that knows me knows that I need my car for work, and I've had so many issues over the last year with it. And I'm kind of, I got to the point where I thought, I don't know why I bought this, and did I make a mistake? And yeah, so you give yourself a hard time about all these things. Well, 2 weeks ago, it completely broke down, and I thought, how am I going to work? Because I have a lot of stuff, and when I go to people's houses, I take a lot of stuff with me, so I thought, how am I going to get to work? And so I just thought, I really don't know. And I'm a bit of a doubting Thomas, I have to say. I'm sorry, but I am. I often think, I'm not quite sure how that's going to work, and how is it going to sort that out, and my head goes over lots and lots of different scenarios of how it's all going to work out. Because I like to have a plan. I don't always follow the plan, but I like to have a plan. I like to know what's happening, and I think if anybody knows when you're a Christian, that does not happen. You do not get, this is what's going to go on, and this is how it's going to do it, and it's very much, you have to live by faith. So, on the Sunday, I opened my Bible, and I think it was the word for the day, it said, do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow has enough worries of its own. I thought, oh, that's really easy to say, isn't it, when you read it? But I thought, okay, there's no point worrying about tomorrow, because I haven't got an answer. I don't know how I'm going to get to my appointments. I'm just going to have to trust him. When all else fails, and you've got no other plans that you can do, which is bad that you get to that point before it happens, but I thought, right, okay, God, I don't know how you're going to do this. So I thought, I'll just have to see in the morning what happens. I work in the morning and I contacted a few people and see if they could give me a lift, and they couldn't. And I thought, oh, that didn't work how I thought it was going to, because in my head I'd planned it. It didn't work like that at all. So I got my bags and I got Joe and I started walking up to school, and I just said, Lord, you know that I've got to get up to C&B, then I've got to get over to Higher Brixham, cut somebody's hair, get back over to Poundsgate Close at the other side of Brixham, and then Raybarn Road, and then get back to school in time to pick Joe up with all these bags, and I don't know how I'm going to do it. So I thought, I haven't got an answer anymore. So I walked around the corner and I was walking up Raybarn, and one of the mums was driving the opposite direction and said, oh, you've got loads of bags there, jump in and I'll give you a lift. And I was like, oh, that was an answer to prayer. And I said to her, and I'm not one for speaking about my faith much, I do, when I'm cutting people's hair, I might mention it, but I'm not really brave enough, I don't think, to just be telling everybody all the time. So, but this lady is not somebody that would believe, but I just know you're such an answer to prayer this morning. I was just praying 5 minutes ago, I didn't know how I was going to get to these places, and you've come along and you've given me a lift. And she went, oh wow, that's amazing. And she said, well no, that's fine, I'll drop you to school. And then she said, where do you need to go? And I said, well, I need to go to Higher Brixham. And she went, oh, well, I gave her the name of the road. She said, I don't know where that is, but I'll take you and you just show me. And I said, oh, I kept giving her directions. And when I got to where we needed to be, she said, oh, well, I'm literally just up this road here. I'm going to go and sort my horses out, and then I'll only be half an hour. So when you're finished, give me a ring, and I'll take you to your other appointment. That's amazing. So I thought, oh, brilliant. And then, because I was up there at Brixham, there's been a car that I kept looking at different cars in central garages, and everyone keeps telling me, we should go to central garages, they're really reliable, and I'm thinking, oh, well, I'd seen a few cars there, but obviously didn't have the finance for that. And I thought, well, God knows, doesn't he? And I had some time, amazingly, I had time in this no-time day to walk down to central garages and say to the man who owns it, I'm going to buy a car from you. I haven't got any money right now, but I am a Christian. I do believe that God's going to provide a way where I can do that. Because I said, it might sound like a bit of a bizarre conversation, but bear with me. That's how I started. And he went, oh, that's fine. And he just sort of looked at me and he went, okay, well, that's fine. Yes, we'll keep our eye out. And I went out thinking, he's going to think I'm an absolute nutter. But I thought, well, I felt like I'd done what I was supposed to have done. So, because I thought, well, I don't know where he's at with the Lord. He's an elderly man. He might not know the Lord. This might be a seed. It might be nothing. But I'll just do what I'm prompted to do. So, did that. Long story short, I've had various different cars over the last 3 weeks, and I've been very fortunate that I've been provided ways in which I can get around. And I have had to do it on a day-by-day basis, and that's not been easy because I struggled day to day. I like to have a plan, but he's managed to get me through the last 3 weeks, and there has been an answer to prayer in that I've had an offer of a loan of some money so that I can buy a car. We've put an offer on a car in central garages, but it's actually in the Torbay branch. And I thought, oh, well, I really wanted it to be in the Brixham branch because I wanted to go and see that man. And then when we put the offer down, yesterday it was, he said, oh, well, it might be that we might be able to get it delivered to Brixham so that they could finish off the process there. So please pray that we get to finish the process off in Brixham, because then I can go to this man who probably thinks I'm a nutter and say, God provided me a way to have a car, because, yeah, I just, so please pray that that happens.
Yes.
So, and thank you, because I have had offers of help and encouragement and contributions, and I'm truly blessed. So thank you all.
Thank you, Rachel.
When Tony's finished, and he'll be very quick because we're running late.
Dave and Sarah will come and do it, and then we'll say the grace together at the end of the song. Okay?
Oh, hello. I'm looking at, in our house group, about a fortnight ago, I've been seeking the Lord about words of knowledge and gifts of healing, which is Pentecostal people we thoroughly believe.
Yeah.
So I woke up the other morning and I started, the Lord led me to 1 Corinthians chapter 12, and I get this right, all these theologians here, where it says to one, he gives a word of knowledge. So in our house group, about a fortnight ago, there was a word of knowledge given. And the word of knowledge was that there was a lady there that had pain in her foot, and that she'd had it for many, many years, not just a few years, many years. So the group prayed for her, and immediately the pain left her, and she said, I've got this incredible burning in my toes. Her toes went back to normal, and I really just thought I'd want to just to encourage her that God still heals the sick.
Yeah.
He still wants to do it. So I'll leave that thought with you, and God bless you.